Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Quantum Leap homework session and trade plan setup for Friday, March the 21st, 2014. It is quad witching day, so be careful out there today. For those that are not familiar with who we are and what we do and are visiting us from Twitter or watching this on YouTube, my name's Doug McKay. I am the head moderator and founder of Quantum Leap. Quantum Leap is a self-organized learning environment. We are retail traders that come together in a private Skype room. It's been open now for over 4 years, and we talk about the market, we talk about our trades, we talk about our observations, but each morning we come together inside of this live go-to, and I go through my analysis, Howard goes through his analysis, and we look at the market structure and set our levels up and our targets for the day. We do go through a regular routine to prepare ourselves for trading. So we look at the macro to the micro, both on the key numbers and on the different time frames and the trends within those time frames. So if you're watching this on YouTube after the fact, you might want to skip ahead to more of the in-depth chart analysis. But before we get going, I have to get the legals out of the way. Let's do that now. This information is for the purpose of educating members who want to expand their knowledge of the business of trading. It's not for trading or investment advice. You and only you are responsible for the trades and investment decisions you make. Trading futures or any instrument involves the risk of loss. Please consider carefully whether futures or options are appropriate to your financial situation. Only risk capital should be used when trading futures or options. Investors could lose more than their initial investment. Nobody at Quantum Leap is a certified trading advisor. We are retail traders operating within a self-organized learning environment. Past performance is not indicative of future results. Okay, we're going to start off a little bit differently before we get into the key numbers. I just wanted to talk about yesterday because I thought it was important to talk about what our levels are, how they played out. Obviously, yesterday going into the RTH session, we had identified this 1846.50 as a key line in the sand. And our main two hypotheses were wrapped around whether we held 46.50 or whether we broke 46.50. And while we were talking about it in yesterday's homework session, we were talking that our first target was at 49.75. Well, while we were doing our homework, they took it up in the Globex just before the RTH opened and opened right at that 49.75. And then I stayed on after the homework because I was concerned with where we were opening, and I didn't like the fact that we were opening in no man's land. I didn't want everybody to get hurt, and we ended up rotating back and forth with an opening swing high of 52.50, an opening swing low of 49.25. Then we rotated down to this 46.50, and we held the 46.50. Unfortunately, it also happened right when we were waiting on the news, the Philly Fed and housing. So I don't like to take trades going into news like that, even though it was right at our level. This would have been the trade of the day, but we had to wait because of the fact that I think this right here, we were 5 minutes before the news, and I just am not going to take news because anytime you get news, you get reperception or revaluation of value, and you never know what's going to happen. We could have very easily broken below this 46.50 and played out our other hypotheses. But if you go back and watch the video from yesterday, we said if we held this 46.50, we were likely to come up and test the 55 area, and then if we held the 55 and broke through, our targets were 58, and then the main target above was that 60.75. And I said if we got inside of the 61, we would have a good probability of rotating back up into that microcomposite VPOC up around 1864.50. And I also made a statement that this time, if we got back up to that 64.50, that the buyers would remain in control and we wouldn't bounce off of that, and that we'd see higher prices coming because they were coming back up into that balance area. And we'll take a look at this at the composite level. But I just wanted you to realize that once you come up and you accept that value again, and you're so close to these these unequalized highs, that 77, 75 RTH high adjusted to the June contract, the all-time high at 80.50 adjusted to the June contract. You're likely going to accept value where value was accepted before, and then you're going to make a move back into price discovery to the upside. Rather, every time we kept on coming up to that 64, before, the sellers were in control, and they'd step in, they'd cap us out, and we'd rotate back down. We're going to talk more about this, but I just wanted to get that out of the way. So let's go get into the numbers right now and take a look at where we're at. I wanted to start off again with the COT report. It is Friday, so the new report, the updated report, the numbers are calculated on Tuesday and then put out on Friday. This is last Friday's COT report. We'll wait for this Friday's. It's going to be interesting to see, if we see any difference between the three main participants. Of course, this line right here, this is the commercial paper. They are net short. The zero line is right here, so commercial paper is net short. This right here is the large spec, and they are net short as well. And we have the small spec, the retailers, and they're chasing this high and likely to be bag holders. I really believe that we're going to see this blow off top this time up. Everything's setting up pretty interesting, especially because of the fact that we've got the we've got tax season, so we've got everybody positioning their tax money in their 401k, their RRSPs, and they're going to be buying into this market. And I really think that the commercial paper and the large specs are going to be major sellers up here and selling into this rally. So let's go back and take a look at the numbers themselves. Of course, we've got our year open. We're above the year open at 1837.75. Now, the all-time high, unadjusted all-time high that was put in the March contract is still up there at 1887.50 in the Globex. We have a all-time high in the RTH for the March contract up at 1886.50. So or 1886.75. I'm sorry. So we still have those two numbers. I'm going to talk about that in a few minutes. We've got those two different highs: the June adjusted high and what is the actual all-time high. Of course, there's nothing really that jumps out at me in terms of the numbers, except for this one right here. What was our number yesterday that we were playing off of? 1846, our month open. So these key numbers will play out over and over again. Nothing else in the macro numbers. Let's take a look at the intraday numbers. We had a Globex open at 1851.25 yesterday. Globex high 53.75, Globex low 44.75, and we opened the RTH at that first target that we put in the homework yesterday at 49.75. Had an open auction in range. We broke the IB to the upside, so we had a normal variation. Our opening swing 52.50 to 49.25 for a 3 1/4 point opening swing, and then our IB, our initial balance, our first hour high and low, was wide again. You can see we've been seeing a lot of these wide IBs, and this is again a sign that we're getting into a toppy area, and there's a lot of discrepancies between the participants within the first hour as they battle it out. Our IB high 60, our IB low 46.25. The intraday numbers, kind of a mixed bag as they rotated around. We did have a lower VPOC, but it was not that lower. It was right at the 18th. So we're accepting this value between 64.50 and 65 1/4. 20-day ATRs are running now, still increasing. We're getting this expansion in the RTH. We're just under 16 points for the RTH 20-day ATR, just over 19.5 for the full session, and just over 10.5 for the Globex. Value area high and low, and a lower value area high at 66, but again, it's right there, and it's all about coming in and accepting this value right here in around between 66 and 61. And then we broke the IB to the upside just outside of the pocket at 9:46 Central Time. and then, you know, again, we had slightly higher than normal volume, a little bit less. Going over to the daily report, our 20-day ATR targets based on our current high and low of the Globex session. Our upward target 1882.25, that goes up and takes out that 1880.50, and then to the low side 1852.98, call it 1853. So you can see that you know, right at one of those key areas that we were looking at this week. And then there's no real news today. Of course, there is some quad witching, and that's the most important news. And then, you know, we had Canadian retail and CPI, but really didn't do much for the marketplace. So let's go now and take a look at where we are in the trend, and just to make sure we know what the overall. Of course, monthly, we've been in this parabolic move, and we're currently now trading above the prior month high, and we are, you know, holding this 9 EMA very nicely. We've got good slope and separation between the 9 and the 20 SMA. The trend is very much intact on the monthly. On the weekly, we are again holding the 9 EMA and the 20 SMA. We're getting slope and separation now. There is a possible head and shoulders developing, but it's nowhere close to being formed. But we do have slope and separation. So the trend is very much intact on the weekly. On the daily, we had some weakness come in. It looked like we were rolling over. We created this technical gap. We closed that tech gap. We closed above the 9 and the 20. We're now getting slope, but we don't have any separation yet. So we're kind of going sideways on this the daily, not giving us as much information as the monthly and the weekly. But the trend has not been violated as of yet. Going over to the geometric chart, I took this. I took that fork that I had added in on the 4-hour the other night, which was another downward opposing fork, because we broke out of it again. I've got to wait for a little bit more information. Like I said yesterday, I wasn't really crazy about the frequency that we saw on that. But there's 3 forks on this chart for those new people. There's this one right here, which is the center line, upper line, and lower line. This is a long-term upward sloping fork that we've been following for many months. Then we have the downward sloping fork, the opposing fork, and then we have the intermediate fork right here. And we had broken down, and we looked like we were getting some more weakness coming in. This was an energy point that we were watching, and we hit it right to the day, and then we broke back up, and we've been trying to get above and hold above the center line of this intermediate fork, and we are now holding above it and coming up to test the upper line of the downward opposing fork, and believe it or not, that's going to take us right up to that 1880.50 and test that all-time adjusted high. If we break below the center line of the intermediate fork, I'd be looking for a retest down here, down to the lower line of the longer-term fork, and guess where that is? 1846.50. We do have a couple energy points. I don't think this energy point is going to come into play now unless we get a big sell-off today, and then they continue to sell off on Monday. So it's more likely we're going to see these 2 energy points playing out. We've got for the end of the month right here at the 1871 area, this first energy point, but we'll have to keep it on it. But the key area is do we hold the 46 again, and do we go and test the upper line of the do we hold the 60 area that we talked about yesterday and go down and test that 46 again, or do we go up and test the upper line, which, I'm sorry, I said 1880. It's the RTH high at 1877.75. So let's go take a look at that composite. And take a look at the big picture. All right, so we're trying to hold value up here. There's 2 key levels up here you want to pay attention to. It's where they last tried to hold value at that 1869.75. then you've got the 1864. Now the 1864 is still the most important number, because even if I bring in another profile and add another profile to this and bring in all this volume going from March the 4th through to yesterday and bring it to the front, you can see that the most accepted value is still that 1864.50, and that's why I'm not worrying about this particular profile right now. I'm more concerned with the with the multiple levels, which is the 69, the 64, which we come up, and you can see the last 3 days as we came up, the seller stepped in here, held us, capped us at this area, and then we rotated back down, came all the way back down to this level right here, which was the 1850 75, 1851 area, and then we accepted that value, and then we rotated back up and came right back up into the 64.50 now. Now we've accepted this value. So now we've got a move overnight higher to that 1872 area, which is the microcomposite value area high up here at this 1872, 75, 1873, and you can see that the overall value area high is up here at this 1873.50. This is going to be a key level for us today, because if we get above that, we're going to go for a breakout of the CLVN and the range high for March the 11th, and I think we go for that 77.75 and 80.50. So the two areas that I'm watching right now is this 71 for a move up to test the 73.50, and this 68.25. If we get back below the 68.25, we're likely going to have to come down and pick up more buyers up down here at the 64.50, with the other side of balance being down in around the 61. I want to move this 59.75 CLVN up to the 61.25, because I think 61.25 is more importantly, because that is the value area high from this 4-day area of balance right here, with the volume point of control at this 1850.75. So 61 is going to be a key area that I watch. It's actually going to be around 60 when we go into the intraday. But my main hypothesis is that we chop around in here, probably come down and test this 64.50 again, but I'm looking for a Friday drift. Now the only problem we have with this Friday drift is the fact that we have quad witching, which means they're going to be looking to pin this, and I haven't had a chance to go and look at where all the open interest is right now. So we might not see a Friday afternoon drift up, but we're that close to the highs. I think they're going to go, and I think we've probably got some open interest above us, and I think they're going to go cause some pain to those people that are holding calls above the highs. So let's go over to the Globex and start moving our numbers over and putting our our levels in on our chart. So our overnight high is the 72.50. Our overnight low is 62.75. Our overnight VPOC inventory, by the way, is net long overnight, 70.50, right where we're trading right now. All right, so we can get rid of this. Nothing really need to know. You got 67 right here as the key LVN overnight, but it's basically right there our range high from the from the Wednesday session. And so we can get rid of this.
I have a shift on the overnight VPOC to 71.25, but I'll do a data download to confirm it.
Do a data download and then just let me know. I probably would have to do one too, but I don't want to disrupt the session. So if you could do one, that would be greatly appreciated. So we're currently right now trading outside of range and outside of value. Our value area high from yesterday is 66. Our value area high, our value area low is 56.50, and that's the standard deviation of 70% of all the volume that was traded yesterday in the RTH session. So anytime you open outside of value and outside of range, our range high from yesterday is 66.50. The prior day was 67.25. Anytime you open up out of range, you have to look for initiative buyers stepping in here and taking us up. So it's going to be very important what type of open. If we get an open drive, okay, do not fade that move, because they are likely to rip this up and go up and test the 73.50, likely 75.50. So if we get an open drive and you see initiative buyers stepping in here, don't try to fade the move. Just either get in on the move and ride it up, but don't try to fade it. So we have to look for that. But we also have the possibility that they're going to come down and test a couple levels. So let's take a look at what levels that I'd be looking at. Obviously, I'm going to be looking at the 68.25 CLVN, and that would be the first spot. I would be looking for responsive buyers to step in. The second spot, I'll be looking for responsive buyers to step in. We'll be down here at this 66.50, 66. You've got the naked close at 66.25. You've got your value area high at 66, and you've got your range high at 66.50. I don't think that the 67.25 is really going to be an area. If they get below the 68.25, I think they're going to come down and test this the range high, the naked open, and the value area high. Then, if we get back inside of value, then I think we'll come down and we'll take out the naked VPOC at 64 and the overnight low at 62.75 and come down and test the 60 level. Remember, 61.25 is the value area high from that prior value area. So it's right there at the LVN from the upper distribution. We had a multiple distribution day yesterday, triple distribution, and typically when you get a multiple distribution in the next few sessions, they're going to retest these, all three of the distribution zones. So if we get back inside of range and inside of value, I'm looking for them to come down, at least test this 60.50 area, the IB low, the LVN, and the 61.25 area. So that is going to be a trade area. And these trade areas are targets as well. So I think that once we get in, the first target is the 64.50. I don't have to mark it as a target because we know it's a naked VPOC. With the overnight low, we have a 96% probability of taking out the overnight high or the overnight low. Right now, the probability is that we're going to take the overnight high out versus the overnight low. But if we do get sellers stepping in and breaking us back into this value, then I'd be looking, without taking out the overnight high, that gives me a high probability of taking this overnight low out and coming down and testing this this 61.60 area. And then below that, okay, we've got to look for a test of the value area low. It's an 80% probability of coming down, and if we accept inside of value again, you got an 80% value, and we hold in there within 2 TPO counts, we're likely to rotate down to test this 56 level. So this 56 level will be my next area below. And then, of course, below that, we have that 53. Remember the 53, 52 area. It's actually 52 right now, and our LVN is 53.50. So I'd be looking at 52 to 53 as my area to look for responsive buyers to step in. Why did that not go? Okay, so there we go. So it's a little bit lower than the actual LVN. You want to watch the LVN, basically 52 to 53, and then below that we've got the 40 the 50 area, which is this basically right here at this HVN. That'll be a target below that. And then, of course, the big number below us, which still remains a key line in the sand for us, is that 4650 and the range low from yesterday. And if we get below that, then I think we're going to see a much bigger retracement. I don't think we'll hold the 41 this time. I think we come all the way down and come down into this 3450 again. And then I don't think we're going to find the buyers that we've been finding. I think we're going to come down and chop around in this distribution. And again, if you've been in the homework, you know what my thoughts are on that. But what is the likelihood that we take out the overnight high? I think that we have a very good probability of seeing some initiative buyers stepping in, and either initiative buyers stepping in right on the open or holding the 68.25 and then going up in either 68.25 or the range high, finding buyers, then ripping us back up and taking out the overnight high. So, you know, as long as we stay above this 66.25, my bias will be to the long side and a takeout of this 72.50, with the main target being that 73.50 value area high. With the other side of balance, come on, draw it for me. With the other side of balance being this 75.50, which is that high from this particular day there. And then above that, I think we see that equalization being the first target being at 77.75, which is the RTH high, and then the 80.50, which is the all-time adjusted high there. And we still have room to move up. Our ATR target is up here at 82.25. That will be an area that I'd be looking for responsive sellers to step in. And then if we break out of the 82.25, the only thing we've really got as guidance above us is that 87.75 and the the 87.50 and the 86.75. So 86.75 is going to be my extended target to the upside. So that's what I'm looking at in terms of the ES. I'll post this chart. Let's take a look at what it looks like on the Renko and Keltner chart. Center line is retest is going to be that 68.25. So you can see that coincides with this level right there, and then a test of the upper, Keltner channel takes up to 74.25. That will take out our first target and have us come up into where we would expect responsive selling to step in. And then, of course, if we get below the center line of the Keltner, a retest down to the 62.50. That's right with taking out that overnight low at 62.75. So you can see how the Keltner fits in here. Let's take a quick look at gold. We started coming down, and we didn't quite get down to our first validation of the handle of this cup and handle pattern that we are watching, but we're starting to get there. We created a bit of a technical gap right here on the daily, where we've got an MA hug between the 9 EMA and the 20 SMA. We're coming up to retest that right now. The key will be, will we hold below that and continue down to validate this. Now, there was a pattern that showed up overnight that is an inverted head and shoulder pattern right now, and it's got a measured move up here to this 1352.30 area, but right now we're seeing some weakness coming in. But if we continue to hold above this 36, remember that 1337 level was key in gold. If we hold above that, you still have to look for a possibility of this measured move on the inverted head and shoulder playing out. But let's take a look at what it looks like on the composite. And I'm meant to draw a profile in here now that we've got some rotation. All right, so it just it matches up with basically this 34. So we're currently trading 38. We have been watching this 37 CLVN, 37.25 as a key line when we were trading within this distribution. We're still inside of value. Our value area high is 45. Our value area low is this 28.80. We're still holding inside that, so around the VPOC, microcomposite VPOC at this 34 level. We're now creating the same value in around the 32, 34 level. We're accepting it so far, and we're coming up and trying to come up and break above the value area high of the 3-day at 41.40. The key line above us is going to be this 45, and that certainly coincides with the measured move on the inverted cup and handle, and then that will possibly get us back above the 9 and the 20, and we'll have to look for a possibility of a bigger move to come up and test this 52 area again. But if we get below the 37, I'd look for another continuation back towards this 32 area with the other side of balance and the value area low from the balance that we broke out of and now have come back down to at the 28, 28.80 level. And then if we get below that, your targets are what have been our main targets all week at 13.20, with the big one being 13.50. And then of course, if we get below the that, look for a test of the 1300 level, and then the big number below us is down here at this 1290. Now remember, that does not invalidate this cup and handle pattern. In fact, if we get below 1300, I would be selling till your fingers bleed, and with that first target being down there, get funded before you get to that 1298 area. But I'd be looking for a bigger retrace, and this this handle of the cup and handle can go all the way down into that 1260 level. And then below that 1260, we've got that really big number, which is the 1240.70, which is basically what started this whole move up. Once we accepted value down here in around this 1240.70, we moved up. We found value here at this 1298. Hit our first target with the breakout of that descending broadening wedge at 13.15, and then accepted value at 20, and then stair-stepped up. But now we've ran out of sellers. We found sellers, and we come down, and we're trying to see if the buyers are going to step back in here and hold us at this 34. That's what I've got. Howard, do you have anything for us this morning?
Yeah, just a couple things.
Okay. Over to you.
Okay, so we'll look at market breadth to start with, and we're just seeing a continuation of the waning of advances versus decliners. We continue to migrate lower below the break-even point here, the 50% level. So we are increasing our net decliners over net advancers, same with up volume versus down volume. But on balance, volume continues to be consistent with price. So we're getting confluence with on balance volume. We're getting non-confirmation with advanced declines versus up volume versus down volume. So continuing to get mixed signals there. So next we'll look at the sectors. maybe.
Just made a new high too, so their buyers are stepping in already.
All right, so here are the sectors, and getting a mixed picture here from yesterday. We have some still moving stronger to the upside. We have a few that are bending lower to flat. Healthcare is kind of leveled off, so we're starting to get a mixed picture here. So that indicates potential moving into balance or consolidation here. So with the move higher in price, we're getting a mixed picture among the sectors. So with about 8 minutes to go, I'll turn it back over to you, Doug.
Thanks, Howard. We've got a new high put in. Did you check the VPOC shift?
I did a download, so let me check it again here. Yeah, it went back down to 70.50.
Okay. So we just went in, we put a new high in the Globex at messed up on my screen. We put a new high at 73. So, and we're trading 72, 50, 75. They're going to rip this. They're going to rip this overnight high out right on the open. And if I would have noticed this, I would have told you guys I already get long right now for that move up. But it's a little bit late now. Now we've got to wait and see. Do they break above the 73.50? If they break above the 73.50, they're likely to spike it up to the 75.50, and then see if we get some sellers stepping in there. It's going to be a real tough open right now with the fact that they're making this move earlier. They did the same thing yesterday. 5 minutes in, they went in and made new highs and hit our first target. It looks like they're going to do the same thing here. So I'm going to stay on and just try to guide you guys through this. But it's going to be a tough open to get in until we either reject 75 or get above it, or come down and test the 68.25. And a lot of people don't like to hear that. Well, I want to trade. Well, where's your edge right now? You really don't have any edge to trade right now. So you want to be careful. So sometimes, as a trader, to be safe, and remember, the real job of a professional trader is risk management. There's there's a lot of risk coming into this open, so you got to be patient and wait for the opportunities that are going to give you an edge, okay? And you can have confidence and where you're wrong quickly. Because right now, where do you know you're wrong? You really don't know you're wrong until we get above 75.50 or you get below 68.25. So it's not that I hate these type of opens, but it's something that you have to deal with. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and shut the recording down, and then I'm just going to stay on for a few minutes to see if we can identify an opportunity. So as always, this will conclude the morning homework session for Friday, March the 21st, 2014. Trade well, trade safe, and we'll catch you on the flip side. Can I get one of our regulars to go in?